guys? Welcome back today for another video. Right now we're at the garage. Well, I'm here by myself, but we have the S2000 here, and as you can tell from the title of this video, we're going to be boosting the S2000. Finally, after months of having parts and turbo stuff just laying around for this thing, we're finally going to be slapping everything together. So as you guys can see, the intercooler is already mounted on. My uncle came and did that the other day. So what we're going to work on now is cutting some pie cuts that we could use. So I brought out this little foldable table that we have, and I put the machine. This is our bandsaw. This is what we use to cut aluminum. This thing cuts like a charm, and it also cuts stainless, but this machine is better for aluminum. Alright, so first thing we want to do is we want to mark the pipe itself. For instance, we got this blue Sharpie. We just want to mark each side just so we know and we're not cutting over the same side. You don't really have to do this, but it's best that we do. It's just easier, it keeps more like a reference. Alright, that line was decent. So we marked one side, now we'll flip it to the other side. So it has to be literally 180 degrees, so basically over on the other side, just the end. So from there to there. The good thing about this bandsaw is that it actually has degrees already labeled. So when we cut pies, we usually cut them on 9 degrees or 18 degrees. If we cut them on 9 degrees, to make a 90-degree elbow, we just have to cut 10 pies. So to change this to the degrees, I will have to loosen this screw right here and a screw on the bottom. We got a 10 mil up top and a 13, I believe, on the bottom. So now I want to put it on 9. You can't really see there, but that's 9 degrees. And just tighten right back. Alright, now we just measure how big of a pie we want. We'll clamp it down with this. We have a little nozzle right here on the side, you can't see, to tighten this. But once we tighten that, we'll measure how much we want to cut. Literally flip the switch on the machine and just drop this and let it do his magic. That's simple. First piece cut, and it's pretty clean at that. You don't really gotta clean it yourself. Usually the pieces are pretty clean. You see, you might have to file down a little bit, but other than that, it's clean cuts. Now let's actually do a real pie. So what you want to do is, once you cut the edge off, since it was a straight piece and you already have an angle here, now what you want to do is take this and literally just flip it around. That's where the lines come into play, because that way you know exactly. Just flip, flip, flip. It's easy. So let's measure this where we want the pie, how big we want it. Let's see, like that. Bring this down. Alright, so this is where the files come into play. Usually like having a flat one, or flat on one side and round on the inside. And we also have just a regular round. So this is the pie, as you can see. Okay, if the camera wants to focus. Alright, as you can see, it's pretty clean. See, you still have some little shavings right here. This is where the file is best at, because all you gotta do is just file all that down. So I usually like using the flat side for this, and then the round circle side for the inside. Just this pie's ready. Let's cut some more. Alright, so I cut a few. I'm still cutting more. Just a little update though. See, the machine really needs a new blade, honestly. These cuts will come out way cleaner. Oh my, the camera will focus. But these will come out way cleaner, but you see those little hairs or whatever you want to call those things. These the blade on the, you're not gonna be able to see it, but the blade on here is shot. Hard to tell, but the blade is pretty much shot. We need a new blade, but I don't got a new blade right now, so I'm gonna just keep cutting with this one. Alright, so I have a bunch of pies. I'm still gonna cut more because you can never have enough pies. Pies are a key in fabrication. Like, you can create anything with just pie cuts. Also, it's good to always have extra pies because if you're running in a tight space, pies is the #1 way out. Alright, so this is the turbo. Well, actually, I pulled this turbo out because we're not sure what turbo we're gonna run with it yet. I'm gonna have to ask my uncle that when he gets here. But this is the turbo manifold we're running. It's a PFAB turbo manifold. So yeah, we could either use that one or we have a couple of other turbos to use. But I pulled this one out just to get a thumbnail real quick. Now let's get back to cutting pies. This thing actually takes a while. Well, also, this is the wastegate that we're using. It's a tile wastegate. I'm not sure what millimeter it is, but I believe it's a 44 if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, the car's not gonna get boosted today. We're getting everything ready, so we might just do the charge pipes, or we might start the process of putting the turbo kit on. I'm not too sure yet. Alright, my uncle's not here yet, but he's on his way. He just called me. But I'm gonna just get to cracking on this manifold. I'm gonna just take the manifold off. I always do that. We have tools like this, and I always use a ratchet or open wrenches and things instead of going for these things. I don't know why. I'm just so used to I'm just so used to using regular tools, not power tools. Alright, the headers are now loose. I just gotta go on the bottom and remove them from the bottom so we could take them out completely. I'm gonna jack the car up now, bring this side up, put a jack stand under, and unbolt it from underneath. Look who decided to show up. Alright, so the headers are finally out. This thing was a mission to take out. You can see we have to jack the car up pretty high. You gotta take the headers out from the bottom. They're like almost impossible to take out through the top. So you gotta jack the car up pretty high to fit them down, or to get them to go through that little channel back there out. Alright, so with this PFAB manifold, which makes no sense, I don't understand why they did this, but this is how the turbo would sit. What room do we have for a downpipe? We will have to remove the AC lines. Even with the AC lines out, it might still be too tight to even fit a downpipe there. So we're gonna have to take this manifold back off, and this is where owner fabrication comes into play. And we're just gonna chop that manifold up, put a V-band on the what's that called again?
What?
The flange. Instead of having the flange, we're gonna put a V-band and a V-band on the turbo, so that way we could have the turbo sit in whichever way we want.
Clock it whichever way.
Yep. So we might have to do that, so we could clock it this way and send the downpipe through the back, back through there. So we got the PFAB manifold back in. We're gonna start testing to see where to weld the V-band at, and to see how high, just in case if it hits the hood of the car. So that's gonna be the end of this video. Well, depending on if the video is long enough to put out, then it'll be the end. If not, we'll just continue in the next couple of seconds. We'll just continue part 2. Right now we're just cleaning up the shop, putting everything back away to push the car back in. We'll sweep this up, and yeah. So like I was saying, we're gonna cut this off and put a V-band here, so that way we could be able to clock the turbo whichever way we want. That's gonna be the best way to run this manifold with AC lines without messing into this harness. Like, it's a whole mess between this manifold, but luckily we got this guy right here. We're gonna fix that.